Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Victor Chang. I work for Miss Becker University. Previously, I worked for University of Southampton, but today my topic is about cloud business framework. So this paper has been published in the International Journal of Information Management. However, I'm a very hands-on person, practical person. So I got my PhD and another education certificate 4 years part-time while I'm working full-time. So this framework is a conceptual framework. However, it's based on 4 major components. So it means that, as you notice, the literature review says the framework can be very difficult to understand because it's based on a lot of people's hard work based on several years. So I'm taking a slightly different approach. I'm going to take some practical approach by saying there are 4 major components, and then afterwards I will then explain how 4 major components work together. Yeah. So my talk is going to be divided as follows. I will give an overview about cloud, and then about the business framework, and then the 4 major components, and then the question and answer. The 4 major components followed by classification. There's more to do with the business models. Then the organizational sustainability is that I'm going to analyze, am I making any return and risk? And then I'm doing the quantization and visualization about the risk and return. I'm comparing the previous business performance and then with the current business performance. Then portability, now is more moving towards the technical aspect. If there is a very business aspect, and these 2 are very technical aspects, it's about how am I going to move to desktop to cloud, and what are the implications, what are the challenges, what are the solutions. Then the linkage is to link how these 2 together is I have a service, and then these 2 can work together seamlessly. Okay, so there are a lot of literature about the benefit of cloud. The cost saving, agility, efficiency, resource consolidation, business opportunity, and so on. So I believe that a lot of you have probably read about this. So I will not go into details. But then there are also people emphasizing on vendors login, interoperability, which means how can you ensure different cloud they can work together, or even security. Security is a very hot topic. So at the time I developed this framework, I did not touch any security until only lately. So I regard security and privacy as a separate challenge. So in this framework, I do not specify on that. But then now I'm going backwards to ensure that each component of the framework has security and privacy. Then based on all the experiences I have from my experience and literature, apart from security, what are the challenges for businesses? Imagine I want to use cloud. So I want to know the best strategy and best practices for cloud adoption. And then there's no any structural measurement of cloud business performance. It's like, how do you make sure you make any return on it? Is it by accountant? But are you sure what they do is accurate? A lot of people are doing the cost analysis, but that's not enough because you are using cloud. There are different aspects, like efficiency is one of them. It's like you use cloud, you expect something in the past is like 3 years, or even but now you expect things to be done much quicker and much better. Even the user satisfaction is another return. Portability means that you're moving stuff into cloud, and then the connection between different services. Different things, they can't talk to each other. So if you don't mind, move to the next slide. Yeah. These are the basic cloud things. Private cloud, community cloud, public cloud. I think the first talk is more about public cloud, whereas my approach is more towards private cloud. Then there are different types of services: infrastructure, platform, and the software. So there are different types of layers. So these means they are the benefits of it. But then, as a framework, we should deal with the challenges. So just to say how cloud computing works, this is a typical model for public cloud. So in different data center, you allow different people to work together. And then you can then go through by resource broker. However, how about private cloud? Private cloud, it means that it's a whole of this, but it's only for people within this region. For instance, people in France, a small scale of public cloud, but only for authorized users. So okay, what's the reason of using private cloud? Because you got the sensitive data. You got data ownership, other issues. You don't want to put sensitive stuff in a public cloud. Therefore, the solution is you build your private cloud. But then, apart from the security, what are the other challenges? It is like we need to know the business model, because if you're not making the right business model, you are going to fail at the beginning. So business model is on the top layer of the framework, followed by organizational sustainability. It's like we are going to find a structured way, to review the cloud business performance, and we have to do it accurately, because you cannot just rely on consultant. They know nothing about technology. You need someone who knows both technology and the business. And portability, we need to be able to migrate to cloud. We have to ensure there's a smooth migration, or even you do things scratch on the cloud. Linkage, you want to link these, for instance, these two services together, because this is a different thing, and that is a different thing. And what business do is like you end up paying, money twice to two different vendors. And the worst thing is two different services that don't talk to each other. And then you spend another money to make two services to work together. But don't you think it's not making a good use of your service? So linkage is something that you link that together. So this is the overview, the adoption challenges. So I have a research question for each adoption challenges. Then for the best strategy and best practices, and how do you classify cloud business model in a business context? Then we have to offer the right business model and strategy. And we do not have a structure, a measurement of cloud business performance, and then there's a research question for this. We have to do it, and we have to do it accurately, and therefore we have to find the best model, and then we have to support a case study, which means a business model from here. But then now we understand the return and risk, but then we have to be able to demonstrate portability. It's like we have to get the right services, with the financial software service and healthcare platform as service. The reason of doing finance is that finance is a very close source sector. You never know anything from it. They will never tell you. Yeah, and we should make a change. I mean, cloud computing, in my opinion, is something that we're going to make it transparent. Whereas in healthcare, some data with the DNA, genes, proteins, they are all online for you to download. It's just that you need to be able to know how to do it. Whereas for finance, it's the opposite. Is like the only thing you find is the previous stock market exchange data. But then it's good for research, but it's not good for something you're doing for investment bank. And linkage is something that you want to link it together. So I start with the first major component, classification. I have a few papers based on this. So this is a business model. Yeah. So this is called Cloud Cube model. So you mean external, internal, proprietary, open, parameterized and deparameterized, and outsource and insource. So the different type of color means you have a different business model, and then it represents different types of business model. A lot of public cloud all fall into this category. That is more for the small and enterprise, medium enterprises. That is for the private cloud. It can be a pilot project. It means that a lot of big companies do this. It's like they claim they can do everything, like Google, Facebook. They say they can do everything, even Oracle, from hardware to software solution. One-stop resources and services. Now it's like academic funding project. It's like we are trying to do something like that, but then we are trying to get all different experts, and then government funding. Venture capital is like, Facebook got money from it, and entertainment and social networking. This is a very popular area, like cloud gaming, mobile phone. And then this is called the hexagon model. Yeah, I have another paper for it. I explain how it was originated from. So this hexagon model, one is based on the business side of it, one is based on the technical side of it. So these are the 6 key factors, and then versus the 6 key factors for technology. And I have another paper for this. It's like the expert review. Another paper called Business Intelligence in the Cloud. That's a very technical paper. I explain how that come from, how I did stuff. So when we are doing the review of your business, we need to use 2 models. And some people even put the numeric numbers, from a scale of 0 to 5 or 0 to 10 You want to make it more computational, then we always analyze it on yearly basis. Yeah. Then this helps because sometimes the business director they know nothing about cloud computing and they're not interested to know the technical aspect of it. So these two models work well for them. Then next, move to the next component, organizational sustainability. Because you know one thing, if you read those finance papers, you notice you are going to read about 50 formulas. But what does the papers tell you? Probably nothing, or maybe something. I don't know. Okay, let's think this way. If I'm a business manager, I know nothing about mathematical formula, or probably I even don't like it. Do you think it's something very technical, or maybe I need to read and understand about the accounting? I need to get an MBA in accounting. But then, what does this mean? It means I'm going to compare, my last 3 years of the business model. So initially, there's a model called capital asset pricing model. It is a very simple model for doing the return. It probably gets nothing about how you collect data. It says nothing about how you analyze data. It says nothing about how you compute data. So my contribution to that is I have my own algorithm. I define what are the data to be measured, what are the key things we need to measure, and then how do we measure, compute the data. So then my contribution is I make the visualize, because this is a Vodafone and Apple case study based on the 3 years. It's like before they adopted cloud, and I compare how they make money. So this is X, Y, and Z model. And I'm going to explain a little bit more. Yeah? 3D visualization is probably easier to understand, but it might be difficult for some people. So X is the actual return and the expected return, and there's risk-free rate or risk-free rate. So what does this mean? It's like every year, the analysts set the target is okay. Next year, we are expecting to make, for instance, 1 million euro, but then the actual return might be even worse or better. This is what you do. You do 1 year ahead, or even 3 years ahead. You do a 1 year forecast, 3 year forecast, and 5 year forecast. So this model compare on yearly basis, or you can also compare on monthly basis. Really up to you. It can be customized. Is this not only to measure about the profitability? Can be measured on the improvement in efficiency, and this means the business is having a very volatile period, and eventually the small company bust. But you can see that it's trying to struggle with it. But then I have several papers on this, how I analyze data, how I do computation, and you can use Google Scholar, put my name, Victor Chang-Cloud computing. And there are a few papers on this, like how I analyze the data, like the actual return, the expected return, and the risk-free rate, and then this is a SAP model based on the economic downturn, how small and medium enterprises deal with the business, and that is VMware, like how they improve on efficiency. Is the actual return is more than the expected return, and these are the certain risks they may have encountered. So. But my PhD is only part of this. It's only about this. Yeah, it's only a small. My PhD is only a very small picture of the big problem. It's about how I analyze it, how I measure it, how I even set things up from scratch, how I did this, how I get stuff done. And I got 2 case study with National Health Service in the UK. Yeah, so then I do a measurement, and then I explain how this data come from, how I make sure the data is accurate, and how I compute the data. So I actually have a PhD thesis on this. So then I do the cost saving. I have a book chapter on this. Yeah, they then explain how I did this, how I collected the data from, how I work with Universal Southampton, what sort of thing they're looking at. They're looking at the user satisfaction, because there are a lot of different measurements. User satisfaction is now getting important, because there are some researchers, they claim that by having a loyal number of customers, they always pay attention and pay services. In a way, they will improve your business performance. So in a way, I work with university to measure data, and that is for developers, because developers, they tend to be very positive. Is like when they have something, or they always go into it. But then I'm expecting some sort of volatile model, because developers tend to change mind. It's like there are different type of things. So there's my second major model. Then the third major component, portability. Because we got to move to the cloud, we have to ensure the things that on the cloud works. So I focus on finance and healthcare. So I previously used to work for a healthcare industry, but my interest in finance, I do a lot of financial computation. So then I use different models. But as you see, now things from the more business side, moving to more technical side. Yeah, then I got a cloud storage and 3D informatics for the work. But then before we are going to go into finance, I will not get through with all the mathematical formulas. Yeah, I will only say what are the sequence and what are the models available. So VGP is variant gamma process in Monte Carlo method. So this method is to ensure the errors are reduced. It's like when you do this computation, there are a lot of volatile things. So what this model does is like it makes it smooth. Yeah, this is VGP contribution. Least square method. Least square is very good in making things fast. I'm going to optimize. It's like constantly optimize. This is what LSM do. Then risk modeling, BSM. BSM is this is called Black-Scholes. Some people pronounce Black-Scholes. Black-Scholes is a Nobel Prize winning model, but it is very mathematical. I use it for visualization because I want to see risk in front of me. I don't want to know the numbers, because what I might be wrong, but then why people mess up with the investment banking? Because they mess up with numbers. And if you do not even know numbers, then in my opinion, we should make it visualize. We want to see the risk in front of us. Then the advanced modeling is to integrate all this together. So even within this portability, it could be already a PhD, yeah? Because you've got 3 different things, but you want to make it together, yeah? So this is the type of security we talk about when we are making stuff in the security domain. We have to ensure that there's a lot of layer of security. However, our contribution is more here, is that we want to work with the private sector, small investment banks, or even financial bank. We want to make everything here to be accessible, because it got to be a platform that is transparent. Even you are doing it for research, it cannot be, they just got the data. So then I did a lot of experiment. Yeah. So now with my model is much faster. Yeah, less than 25 seconds versus that. But then I can do the simulation. There's another paper for this. Yeah, it's how I do the risk modeling. Actually, there are several papers on risk visualization. So I want to see risk as something in front of me. I can see, I can feel it. I can see. In a economic downturn, I'm going to lose about up to 20%. It's going down. And then the risk is so high, and probably there's no way for me to make money out of it. So it then gives the stakeholder, important information. And healthcare private cloud. So now I'm moving to the healthcare. It's like for them, the issue is they have a lot of data in different places. They want to have a cloud computing that they work together seamlessly. They want to get different researchers that can work closely, and therefore there are different types of services: automation, easy backup, snapshot, replication recovery. There are also a few papers on it. Yeah, so you can search my papers. Won't go into details, but then I've done some experiment. I want to find a failure rate, because the problem is we want to move data to cloud, and we want to move between clouds. Okay, let's don't talk about privacy. Let's talk about loss of data. Between moving stuff between clouds, we lost data. Or maybe what people do is we try it again and again. And even sometimes we go to some website. We may not see the website successfully, so we try it again. So this is the same thing. It's like especially when you move a large chunk of data into another cloud, there's a huge risk, failure rate. It's like things may not work for the first time, and you have to keep trying again, and again. So this experiment is measured. I'm talking about the first time success. But then surprisingly, when you get more and more data, it's going exponential rate. Yeah. So for people who are doing big data, I think this problem got to be resolved. It got to be, you cannot send like 10 terabytes of data into another place. You expect it to be successful for the first time, and some people even download like video. Have you have the experience? I want to watch some sort of movie, yeah, and then you want to download it and you don't get it success for the first time. So what you do is you do the overnight running, yeah, just download everything, yeah. So and then at the end of the day, you will tell you, oh hey, some videos are failed to be downloaded. It's the same thing. So then this is the platform as a service, and okay, then yeah. So I do a lot of simulation. There are a few papers on it. I'm also developing papers on it. Then linkage is to make things together, yeah. So to make the second and the third component together. So this is a system architecture. It's like, there are different things. They link to each other. Yeah. So this is the second service, and then link to service. So the input of the first service go to the, output of the first service go to the input of the second service. So in a way, then I hope you see the connection. So the University of Southampton, this is the the organizational sustainability, and this is the financial modeling. Yeah, do you see the connection? The organizational sustainability connects to the the financial portability. So same thing for Vodafone case study. So it connects. Yeah, these are two different things. Now they're talking to each other. Yeah, and it save you efficiency, save you money. And I have a few papers on that also. So there are also some computational. Yeah, I removed the complexity for the mathematics. Then now let's go back to the conceptual framework. Now there are 4 different things. So how do they connect to each other? So you've got the infrastructure, platform, and the service. Then you've got the second organizational sustainability modeling, service portability. Yes, and you've got a collaborator. And then you can migrate or upgrade to the next level, and that level needs the dependency. It's like I depend on the reliability of the service. So now I begin to map everything together. Yeah, and that is a little bit more complicated, but then you probably have heard all of it. The business model on the top is like, it's the one that, okay, you should do things correctly. And you have the hexagon model to help you. Yeah, you've got a linkage to ensure everything that works. So this infrastructure links to the platform, and then it links to the software as a service, and then each major component, especially the second and third one, is together with every level of service. Yeah, so then it maps everything together. Linkage is the one I can work with that and work with that. I can work with that together. That's called linkage. Yeah, so this is the conceptual framework based on implementation of all different services. And then I have some successful case studies. So in my journal, International Journal of Cloud Computing, I remove all the technical bit of it. I just explain what the contribution. Yeah, different type of thing for different types of organization. Yeah, so it's actually a live framework. It's not a lot of framework. They're based on some sort of conceptual thing. It's actually based on the concrete result, because I personally believe that we should have some result. And then that paper explained about all this. Yeah, the contribution of it. And I hope they will look at the paper due to shortage of time, and different things like 3D visualization. Yeah, I can do this thing. Yeah, now I'm stepping forward. It's like I'm making new things now. Yeah, then based on the contribution, I can see evolving business model. We connect all this together. The business model, the business manager just need to see and see all this. And within a matter of minutes, everything might be clarified. And also, I see that emerging cloud, in different things, like we can talk to each other, and then we can do stuff on the iPad, and then we can do cloud gaming, and then social networking, and then with the GPS, data-intensive research cloud, education as service. So I see these are the future. And the conclusion is that cloud computing is highly relevant. However, the challenges are not just technical, but then we have to explain all the 4 challenges, and we make this framework as a live framework with 4 major components, and therefore it helps with organizations that they will be designing and implementing cloud. Thank you. That's the end of my talk.
I have one question for your model. How can you use it for is it usable to use it for insurance company would like to limit risk for cloud computing? New product
it's like you know, now the probably the layer is consulting a service. It's like you just tell me what you want and I design and do stuff based on your need. So it can be flexible. Most people, they start with something small, a pilot project. I want to do something, I want to test something, and some people, they even do user satisfaction. Some people, they want to implement something, and some people, they're interested in the technical aspect. I want to, you know, optimize. I don't care about the user. I want to care about technical. So it's dependent on the requirement. So my contribution is I will be able to make it into something enterprise. And I'm also doing funding, so you know I can talk to you about it. And I'm taking a lead in UK EPSRC funding, and then Horizon 2020. If you're interested, we can talk about it. Yeah, I'm the technical lead and the architect of all this. Yeah, but now cloud computing should be something that can be, you know, usable. Or maybe you are proven to the point to the stakeholder this is useful. Why there's a worth for investment. So it can be dependent. So if you're interested, there are a few interesting projects. The first interesting project is I'm going to set up some sort of you know, big data hedge fund. It's like I'm collecting data from 1960 to now, because you know what investment bank doing? They're making billions of it. Why? Why? Because they are just constantly, you know, rehashing the models. And they don't want to tell you the secret. They're making money. And once they lost money, who will be the people to pay? It's us. So that's my project for EPSRC funding. So if you're interested, we can talk a bit. Thank you.